Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. On the 13th of March 2023, I made a video and I used, I think it was a Washington Post article with a Ukrainian Battalion Commander. And this Battalion Commander made some statements saying that disclosures saying that all the experience or most of the experienced Ukrainian fighters in Ukraine in Bakhmut are gone. And he stated that the Ukraine doesn't have experienced fighters anymore, and I 100% I agreed with that, and I mentioned that a few months ago, since you put the best troops at first, trying to stop the invasion, and then, you know, little by little you lose the best troops. The Ukrainians should not have, after a year, elite troops. And that was in a response. I used the statements of this commander to make a point, which was the Ukrainians were claiming, the leadership, that they send elite troops, and elite troops of Ukrainian army are coming to Bakhmut. And I said, they don't have elite troops anymore. They really cannot have them. Well, this guy, the commander of this battalion, said they're gone, they're done. And I think he also said, or the Washington Post said, that there were about 100,000, at least 100,000 dead and injured on the Ukrainian side, which was a great number. I think the same commander said. Well, guess what happened with that commander? No, he was not executed yet, but he was demoted. He was demoted for being interviewed by Washington Post, by the free mass media. And that was his assessment of whatever he knew about what's going on the front. So it seems like he didn't receive the green light to talk, and he said what he thought was true. He got demoted and then he quit. He submitted his resignation from the post. And this is another example of how things are ran over there. I will discuss also the confidentiality. Probably they have some policies about discussing certain things about the army and so on. The idea here is, and I'm making a point, that this commander, he spoke without Zelensky's agreement, and maybe without other people's agreement or approval. And I will remind you that I made a video, I think it was on about June 2022, with the Commander-in-Chief of Armed Forces, Ukrainian Armed Forces, Zaluzny, where he was asked a question by, I can't remember, a guy from the media, and he said, well, for a counteroffensive, I need, he said, between 300 and 500 tanks that I don't have. And for that, he was reprimanded by the guys in Kiev, saying that you should keep your mouth shut and you should not talk and so on. It was another guy who was reporting on this, and he said that it was a Ukrainian who said, well, it's actually it's a popularity contest in Ukraine, and you can't challenge Zoolander, which is Zelensky's Stein, popularity. The same person stated that actually that's a big team of public relation group over there that take care of his image, to promote only one image, which is Zelensky. Zaluzny, on the other hand, the commander-in-chief of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, said, okay, well, I was asked a question and I just answered it. Okay, from now on, I will not talk, and I'm just going to fight for my country, my nation. Boom. That was that. I'm going to show you this article with this commander, the commander that now submitted his resignation. And I will show you the video I made on the 13th regarding what he said, if you want to build on this information. This, not this information, this information. All right, so let's go. So here is from Ukrainska Pravda, if you can believe it. And the article, the video I made was this one right here with this beautiful arm extended. And the title was Ukraine's experienced troops gone, more than 100,000 military casualties, killed and wounded. That was based on that article that got this guy demoted, and then he quit. He looks Ukrainian, so yeah, go figure. So all right, this is from March 13th. So now we're in March 16th. So it took them 3 days to take care of this guy. So battalion commander of 46th Brigade demoted after interview to Washington Post hands in resignation. Ukrainska Pravda. This is from March 16th, 2023. Anatoly Kupol-Kozel was demoted from the post of combat battalion commander of the 46th Airborne Brigade to deputy commander of the Training Center Battalion after a controversial interview with the Washington Post. So they took him and they hid him. Hid, H-I-D, not H-I-V, H-I-D, hid him. Source of Ukrainska Pravda. As sources of Ukrainska Pravda noted, the decision to demote Kupol was made by the commander of the Ukrainian Air Assault Forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Major General Maxim Mirhorodsky. In response to such a move, Kupol wrote a resignation letter. This person, for me, already showed value, that he respects himself and he's not gonna be treated as a weasel. I expect this guy to disappear. That's my expectation. Never hear about him again and disappear, I don't know, in an accident or something, or put on the front line as the Russians and Kadyrov said, the generals of the Russian armed forces should be pushed in the front line without boots on, put an AK-47 and push towards the Ukrainians. So probably he's gonna be done the same. Maybe they're gonna somehow get his hand behind his back, cover his eyes and send him towards the Russians. These kind of stories are real, I'm telling you, okay? It's not me just pulling it out of my butt. So let's see. Ukrainska Pravda also asked for a comment from the press service of Ukraine Air Assault Forces. Commander Kupol was one of the interviewees of the Washington Post, and the conversation resulted in the outlet writing that the defense forces of Ukraine lost many of the most experienced fighters on the battlefield, and the inexperience of recruits, coupled with a lack of weapons, allegedly reduces optimism and calls into question Kiev's readiness for a spring offensive. Allegedly. Oh yeah, why not reportedly, because he said it. But he also said allegedly. I've been in contact with Kupol. Facing reassignment, he has decided to leave his post. A really unfortunate development for an experienced commander who was speaking out because he wanted to see positive change in Ukraine's armed forces. Yeah, it's like right now you say certain things here in America and you lose your job or you never get a promotion. Yeah, I know that from not direct experience, but how should I put it, being involved in something like this. According to Ukrainska Pravda, this is not involved, meaning people around me that were fired for certain things or never got a promotion because they were too honest. According to Ukrainska Pravda, this is not the first case of a transfer to a 46th Brigade after communication with the press. After an interview with Ukrainska Pravda about the situation in Soledar, which the Ukrainian army left in January 2023, Ukrainian Armed Forces Sergeant Alexander Pohrebisky was transferred from the combat unit to the post of company chief instructor. You see, this guy's an instructor and the other one was sent to something the same thing. Where was he? Was where? Demoted to made commander response. Where was sent? Come on, I know, training. Yeah, he was training center battalion. So he's now training. That's what he's doing. And the guy is the same thing. You're just an instructor right now. In the training center of the Ukrainian Armed Forces. And I'm quoting, military leaders don't like the truth and don't want to solve systemic problems, end quote, said the source to the Ukrainska Pravda. Telling the truth would help anybody solve a problem. If you don't tell the truth, you think that Ukraine's No, you think that Russians' economy will collapse in 2 weeks, the ruble will be done in 48 hours, Putin will be toppled by his people, and regime change will occur in Russia. But since people have ideology and don't like to look at facts and evidence and they just pick and choose, that means the conclusion is wrong. It's like this little analogy: you want to bake a cake, yum, 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 and you don't like sugar. So you're not going to put sugar in a cake. You're going to put salt because you like salt. How do you think your cake will taste? Salty. So here you have it with these guys. I am surprised that he's still alive, but probably the things are not as bad over there. And what did the guy say? Hey, we need more. We're in trouble. We need more. It's like you go in a meeting and you're, let's say, the supervisor, the director, and you say, okay, guys, we got to make a little, plan here. What are we going to do with the business? And everybody says, it's great, everything is good, blah, 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 blah. Okay, man, everything is good. Don't change anything. Let's move on. And then you file for bankruptcy in 2 weeks or so after the meeting. Well, and if you have someone who says, well, sir, we got a little problem here. The problem is this is just the way I see it. But I got a way to remediate that, to solve it. And this is the way I think we should do it in order to solve those problems. If you are not an idiot, you can say, okay, let me look into that. Give me more details. Meet you in my office. What guys do you think? Meet you in the office in, later today. What do you guys think about it? After the conversation, you make a decision and say, see you later. Bring me this. Bring me your, how do you call it? The way to solve the problem. I can't remember the word right now. Your suggestions, but a plan that you think will help improve our, efficiency, productivity, whatever the issue is at hand. You meet the guy later, he's going to come, you look over it. If you don't see what's going on and say, hey, 3/4 of our personnel are drunks, and they come drunk, and you say, nah, get out, then you don't know, instead of looking at it. So sir already said, well, sir, you don't really show up at work. You gotta be more, hands-on here. Me? When I got girlfriends, I have to play golf. I have to, Tahiti. I can't be here all the time holding your hand. Well, if I do that, I surely will get bankrupt in 2 weeks. So same here. This guy said something in his assessment, I think with a good heart. Criticism in a way is, hey, we need more. We're in bad shape. And what he said is no news to me. But it's going to be used with the other ones that are told every day, Ukraine is winning, Russia is losing. And that would counter, the narrative. And that's a no dissent allowed. So I think this guy has character, not because I like what he said, not that the Ukrainians are, no, I think he just confirmed what I knew all along. And this is not all along, but all along. And it's not because it's a self-fulfilling prophecy here. I think it's a fact. Just think about it logically. Now, I don't know if he's supposed to give these interviews to the media, and I don't know if the Ukrainian army has an order. Don't talk to the media. That's it. If that was the order, he obviously was not supposed to do it. Therefore, that was the punishment, and that's also good. That should have been discussed with his commanders, not with the mass media, if that was such an order, which I'm inclined to think it was. Because in a war, you have to keep your mouth shut because these things get out in the public. And maybe Washington Post doesn't cover for us anymore because they kind of drop us from their lap. So these weasels must not know that is happening. The West is kind of like, I don't know you, Ukraine? I don't know you. They're turning their back slowly because they have their own problems. And their problems are big systemic financial problems, if you know what I mean. Bankruptcy, bailouts, things like this. They try to fool us left and right, but no, when problems are on the stock market and they're in this Credit Suisse in Switzerland bank, nah. That don't tell me it's just Silicon Valley Bank. Nah. It's much more. So be careful. Get your money and do something else with it before you can just use it to make fire. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.